From a very humble background of 5 siblings, that is 2 girls and 3 boys, I was born a 4th born. And being a second last child, I had very many big challenges in my education, with my parents taking frequent loans and selling little properties, including the animals and the land we had. Despite those hardships, I managed to complete my primary and secondary education. However, after senior 4, there was nothing more left to be sold. It seemed we had reached a dead end, and I sat home for 6 months. I was very frustrated. I hated myself. I even hated my parents. I even regretted why I was born in such a family. When my mom saw all this, she suggested that I go to my uncle's place in Nairobi, where I spent 2 years working as a house help. While in my uncle's place, I developed a strategy to win my aunt's heart, which helped me to win her favors. I loved and cared for her children. I consulted her on every activity I could do. I washed clothes, I ironed, cleaned the house, and cooked food, which eventually placed me in a position to be considered and helped. While staying with them, I was convinced to join other professions. They suggested I join police because this is where they had connections and networks. But this was not my calling, and so I declined the offer. Fortunately, Mbarara International University, Uganda advertised my dream courses, which I applied for, and excitingly, I was admitted for nursing. While there at KIU, we were required to first do a bridging course for 6 months, which became a basis for my later studies, that is clinical medicine and community health. With several advices and encouragement from my parents, my relatives, and my fellow students, I worked extremely very hard, and I was determined to pass and finish my course because I knew where I was coming from. I joined serious group discussions where I was encouraged by one influential friend who later became my boyfriend. With the continued hardships of tuition, I would wake up as early as 3 a.m. to evade Askari's checkups who would stop us from entering the university without a clearance card. I remember one day I entered in class and they came later to check. We ran to the washroom and we stayed there for almost 2 hours. In all this, I kept praying for God's intervention, recalling my mother's warnings and inspiration counsel. This trend of life resulted into excellent performance in my course. On the other hand, I was very bold to tell my boyfriend that we delay having sex, thus avoid unwanted pregnancy in the course of our studies. To be sure he was a serious person, I requested him to introduce me to his parents. What? He was a bit surprised, but later he did it. However, even after introducing me, I made sure that every holiday I would go back home to be with my parents and support them. I was lucky to get a job with a mission hospital through the support of my fiancé. It is from their payment that I supported me to clear the outstanding school fees back at the university, but also it contributed to the process of our wedding. I am now working as an in-charge in one of the health center treats. At the same time, I'm a nutrition focal person in Bushenyi district. I must say that I am happily married to this influential gentleman, and we are blessed with 5 children, both girls and boys. Brothers and sisters, be bold, be courageous, be determined, be focused, and above all, be God-fearing people. Remember, what we think is impossible can be possible.